2 laps to go. Dale Earnhardt Jr. and teammate Michael Waltrip lead the Pepsi 400. Right behind the Hendrick teammates of Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson.
Let's work with Gordon to get by those DEI cars.
All right, I'm going to give Jeff a little bump and push him to the front.
The action on the track really heating up now, but it looks like the Hendrick cars are going to have a tough time passing the 8. Now Johnson pushing Gordon past Jr. for the lead. The crowd on their feet cheering the 2 Hendrick cars.
Watch up high. The 15's getting close. Contact with the 15.
Big trouble in the tri-oval. Johnson's into the wall, coming back down across the track. Now barrel rolling in the tri-oval grass.
I'm okay. Tell Jeff to 1-1 for the team.
All right, listen, buddy. We're out of the race, so you're going to have to swap cars with the 24 and make sure we bring home the win for Hendrick Motorsports. To swap cars, use the interactive crew chief feature and select the 24 car. Then select the swap cars icon and you're all set. Once you're in the 24 car, just hit the gas and bring home the checker flag, bud.
All right, bud. Swap cars with the 24 now. You got it. The 15 car is coming on.
Down in victory lane, Jeff Gordon and the 24 team celebrating a huge win in the Pepsi 400. And here comes Jimmy Johnson to congratulate his Hendrick Motorsports teammate.
Great job. That's the way to take it home.
I couldn't have done it without you, man.
Okay, let's get this out of the way. That opening was absolutely ridiculous. It's like EA wanted to capture the spirit of Days of Thunder, but somehow made it worse and cheesier. But aside from that, I need to admit, you know what? I used to not like NASCAR 06, and you know something? I was wrong. I was wrong about NASCAR 06, and I'm going to get into all the reasons why, and how I feel about this game now in 2025. So here we go. When I first played this game, I wasn't a fan of the total team control gimmick. Swapping between teammates mid-race just felt unnecessary, like it broke the immersion of actually being a driver. Plus, it made things too easy. Wrecking a teammate to bring out the caution was basically a brilliant exploit. And let's be real, pulling a Clint Boyer just means you're cheating yourself. Let's start with the fact that you can buy an entire race team. The ability to buy an entire race team was a game changer. It's not just about winning races as a solo Alan Kawicki owner type driver. It's about building something bigger. You could buy a team, you could sell it, and eventually work your way up to buying an even better team. In NASCAR 2005 Chase for the Cup, you could start your own team, but it was always a single car operation, and once you were an owner, you were stuck in that role for the rest of the fight to the top save file. NASCAR 06 took team management to a whole other level. They really added strategy and immersion that I didn't fully appreciate back then. Another small but welcome improvement was NASCAR 06 actually lets you use double-digit numbers when creating a car. That might not sound like a big deal, but if you played other EA NASCAR games, you know how frustrating it is to be stuck with triple-digit numbers, most likely due to licensing. This meant when I bought Robert Yates Racing, I could drive the legendary number 28, a number that was synonymous with Yates for years before they stopped using it after losing the Texaco Haviland sponsorship. It's a number that rarely shows up in Cup anymore, but for longtime fans, it carries a lot of history and a lot of personal meaning. Speaking of history, one of the coolest unlockables in this game is the big brown truck. If you watched NASCAR in the early to mid 2000s, you'll probably remember those UPS commercials with Dale Jarrett where people kept asking him, "Hey, when you gonna race the big brown truck?" Well, in NASCAR 06, you can actually race the truck in a Cup race. Fun fact, 2005 was also the year Dale Jarrett scored his 32nd and final Cup Series win when he triumphed at Talladega in the October race. Not a bad way to close out a legendary career. And speaking of Dales, you gotta love going on Facebook, you see these old boomers who go, "NASCAR died with Dale Earnhardt." Yet somehow they're still commenting on NASCAR posts 15 to 20 years later. Well, guess what? Dale lives again in NASCAR 06. His iconic number 3 is an unlockable chase plate, meaning you can go full Intimidator mode, knocking people out of the way and dominating like it's 1987. In fact, he's the only legend car you can unlock in this game. Though, if I'm being honest, most of these cars feel like legends now. So many of these drivers are now Hall of Famers and guaranteed locks for the Hall of Fame. Then there's the headset functionality. I completely forgot about this. You could issue voice commands to your team, making it feel like you were actually talking to your crew chief. Sure, it wasn't perfect, but for its time, it was actually an ambitious feature. It's also hilarious when the crew chief gets mad at you for swearing. We're supposed to get something similar in NASCAR 25, so I'm looking forward to that. Now, I'll be honest, my dislike for Hendrick Motorsports might have skewed my opinion back in the day. Seeing them on the cover didn't exactly help my first impression. Yes, I am a Hendrick hater, no doubt about it. But putting that aside, the team rosters in this game are a blast from the past. It's like stepping into a time machine and revisiting a golden era of NASCAR. The attention to detail is impressive, like how Michael Waltrip actually had a better team than Dale Jr. in 2005, since they basically swapped teams from the previous season. That's the kind of accuracy you don't always get in sports games. And let's be honest, this isn't just a sports game. This is a car RPG, which is a racing game with RPG elements. And speaking of accuracy, Jimmy and Jeff definitely got hit by the EA Sports cover curse. Gordon missed the chase entirely and finished 11th in points, with Will Ferrell of all people accepting his award at the banquet for 11th place. Meanwhile, Jimmy Johnson did have 4 wins and was 3rd in points heading into Homestead, only to crash out and finish 5th. He and Chad Knaus nearly split up after that. At the time I said, I bet Jimmy Johnson will be the Mark Martin of his generation. Yeah, that is a take that has aged like milk and vinegar, without a doubt. Revisiting NASCAR 06 with a fresh perspective, I can appreciate just how much it brought to the table. I still don't love the total team control mechanic, but the deep career mode, team ownership, and nostalgia of the 2005 driver lineup kind of make up for that, honestly. That's what I love most about the game. It lets me relive one of my favorite NASCAR seasons. The NASCAR 2005 season had everything. Carl Edwards winning 4 races in his first full season and finishing 3rd in points. He was mathematically tied with Greg Biffle for 2nd. And I don't think people appreciate how close Greg Biffle came to being the first champion to be a champion of all NASCAR's top 3 series. Brad Keselowski and Kyle Busch are theoretically the only 2 guys who could technically pull off that feat if either one of them decided to go down to the Truck Series towards the end of their career and run a full season. Obviously, Austin Dillon's probably not going to win a Cup Series championship, let's be real. Speaking of Kyle Busch, this was actually his rookie year, and he actually won 2 races in the last half of the season. Roush Racing put all 5 of its cars in the chase. It's still something that had never been done and never will be done again, basically because now the most you can have is 3 cars, and I believe Gibbs and Hendrick are locked in, or grandfathered in with 4. And Tony Stewart fending off the Roush-Keteers to win his 2nd championship, despite Greg Biffle winning the season finale, was really thrilling and exciting. You didn't know what was going to happen. That was a really neat season. This season also marked the end of an era. Rusty Wallace had his last call tour and actually retired. No part-time return, no backtracking, just done. I respect that level of integrity. And he had Ricky Rudd. He stepped away too, ending his 788 race Ironman streak, driving the fated number 21 for the Wood Brothers. His Ironman record stood until Jeff Gordon broke it a decade later. Ricky Rudd, I wish he had stayed in the 2088s, but obviously, him and Elliott Sadler basically switched places. And I really liked Ricky Rudd, honestly. And it was sad to see him take a break, but he did come back in 2007, but we'll get into that on another day. Speaking of stepping away, Carl Edwards, one of 2005's biggest stars, shocked everyone when he left NASCAR in 2016. He recently was inducted in the NASCAR Hall of Fame alongside Rudd, and he's even coming back as a commentator for NASCAR's Amazon Prime coverage of the NASCAR Cup Series. That's really going to be great to see. I've really missed Carl. There's a lot to say about NASCAR 06. Sure, I'm not a fan of the guys on the front cover, or the guy on the next front cover, but we'll get into that on another day in another video. What I can say is this, the gameplay still holds up, Fight to the Top is a blast, and the 2005 season still tugs at my nostalgia heartstrings. So NASCAR 06, I take it back. I should not have been so harsh with this game. But good lord, the opening sequence, the whole Days of Blunder thing, come on man, that was so ridiculously cheesy. But overall, the game is really solid and definitely worth checking out. And it's super cheap, okay? It is a very inexpensive game that has a very deep career mode that's absolutely worth checking out. Is it the best NASCAR game? Not in my opinion, but it's still really good. It's a game worth checking out, especially if you're nostalgic for the 2005 NASCAR Cup Series season. And it really was a different time, honestly, and it was really neat and exciting, especially for me. Anyways, hope y'all enjoyed watching this blast from the past nostalgia trip, me gushing over the 2005 NASCAR season and talking about this game. Thank you guys so much for watching, and stay awesome in this universe. Later.